Drive through almost any neighborhood in Southern California and you'll find at least one apartment building with open garages underneath. But experts say that they could put you at serious risk, especially if an earthquake hits. Our Gordon Tokomatsu is live for us tonight in Sherman Oaks to tell us all about it. Gordon?
Well, Chuck, back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, these buildings went up all over Southern California. Above ground, open air like this, usually used for parking. But the question is, will a structure like this remain structurally sound in the event of a major earthquake? It's where the 1994 Northridge earthquake took its deadliest toll. January 17th, 4:31 a.m. An apartment building called Northridge Meadows, notable, say engineers, for what they call soft-story construction.
We're here in the Channel 4 newsroom, as you folks, there's no surprise. For any folks this morning, we've been hit with a major earthquake.
16 people lost their lives at the complex that morning when the top floors pancaked down to the ground. Last December in Pasadena, emergency officials just finished work on the first ever Southern California catastrophic earthquake plan. Part of it focused on soft-story structures like Northridge Meadows. What are they? Well, you probably drive past dozens of them every day. You may even live in one.
Soft-story structures are like the one located I'm standing next to, where the front of the building is very open, either with glass or garage spaces like in tuck-under parking, where there's thousands of these types of buildings.
Caltech says there are more than 20,000 soft-story apartment buildings or condos in the city of Los Angeles alone. The Department of Building and Safety says only 800 of those have been seismically retrofitted. So how can you tell whether or not you live in a soft-story building? Well, as it turns out, you don't need an engineering degree to spot one. Following the 6.7 Northridge quake, the state's Seismic Safety Commission said retrofitting soft-story buildings should become a top priority. Attorney Joel Castro, who works with the commission, represented victims and families of the Northridge Meadows complex.
These little posts are supposed to hold up this wall. And during the earthquake, you get a vertical and a horizontal acceleration. You're getting both movements, northwest, east, south. And pretty soon you lose your post like this, and then it collapses.
In 17 years since the Northridge quake, many earthquake-prone cities have mandated that buildings retrofit to prevent such collapses. But enforcement is either slow or non-existent.
You have to come in and put in new grade beams, and you have to put in new vertical columns, and you have to put in steel beams. So it's Russian roulette. Should I fix it? Should I go to bank and lower my chances of risk, or should I just continue to let my tenants and the FedEx guy and the post office guy that come into my building be subject to injury or death?
There are even companies that specialize in fixing soft-story buildings. Saunders Seismic Retrofit, for instance, which prepped this Norwalk apartment building for whatever the next major quake can bring. This is done with steel support beams that shore up the open space below. Seismically speaking, problem solved. This retrofit took 3 weeks and cost around $35,000.
Before we put the frame in, if I pushed on the building this way, it was basically just a bunch of little sticks holding up, and it would be easy to push over. But now with a big stiff frame, it's basically like filling this whole area in with a solid wall or a solid block.
But Castro says with a larger building, the cost could be substantially more. When cities choose not to enforce their warnings, many owners just don't do anything. If a member of your family said, I'm going to get an apartment, what would you tell them?
I would strongly advise them not to rent there, not to live there, and I would help them find a different location to live.
Some experts told us when the so-called big one hits, some cities as large as Los Angeles could lose 40 to 50% of their housing stock, and half of that will be so-called soft-story structures. If you'd like more information about this and earthquakes in general, you can log on to our website at nbcla.com. Reporting live from Sherman Oaks, Gordon Tokomatsu, Channel 4 News.
After seeing that, I was anxious for Gordon to get out of the garage.
Yeah, no kidding. We remember that all too well. 17 years ago, we were here.